I have any tips for demonstrating a developing relationship between characters? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. So you could do this also in reverse, in which you are demonstrating two characters growing farther apart, but I am going to give you all of the tips as to how to demonstrate characters coming closer together. So people who started off as strangers and are becoming friends, people who started off as friends are becoming more than friends, something along those lines. And in order to reverse it, you literally are just going to show these things opposite. So instead of bringing people closer together, you're going to be shoving them farther apart. And I want you to think about three different things in the way that these characters relate to one another. The first is the things that they notice about each other. The second is the things that they remember about each other. And then the third is the way that they behave toward one another. So if we start with that first one, the things that they notice. Off the bat, you're going to notice superficial things. You're going to bring your own preconceived notions into this relationship. Even if this is like you are meeting this person for the very first time and you're going to be co-workers, this is still a relationship. It's just not a very close one. So you are going to bring all of your preconceived notions, whatever you were told about prior to meeting this person, whatever baggage you are bringing from previous relationships and previous interactions, whatever emotional crap you've got going on for yourself that day, all of that is going to heavily color the things that you notice about the person that you are meeting. And so if character A meets character B and has a whole bunch of stuff, their own stuff going on that day, they might notice that character B looks really arrogant and is dressed really nicely, which means that they're probably rich and they're probably snobby and they don't want to talk to me anyway. Or character B might be distracted that day and character A takes it personally, right? Like you can see how because they don't know each other well, they are making snap judgments based on surface level information that is heavily colored by their own personal experiences and their own personal preferences and things like that coming into that meeting. As time goes by, they are going to notice different things. They are going to notice gestures, behaviors, word choices. They are going to notice an expression and start to realize like, oh, he does that whenever he's tired. Or so they are going to start to notice different things, things that are not surface level things about the other character. Step two is that they are going to remember these things. If you do not care about the person sitting across from you, you're not going to remember things about them. You're not going to remember important things, and you're definitely not going to remember the nitty-gritty things. You're not going to remember the little things. But if you are starting to care for the person sitting across from you, even if you don't necessarily realize it yet, you will start to remember those details. The funny story that they told you about when they were 8 years old, that's going to stick with you because you care about them and you wanted to remember it. And it made you laugh and you thought it was charming and you thought it was adorable. And so you're going to remember more things. This is where we get that moment in so many rom-coms of, I can't believe you remembered that, because remembering is caring. When he's the only character who remembers her birthday, when he's the only one that gets her crazy coffee order right, like these are the things that demonstrate that somebody cares, even if they don't necessarily have the tools or the emotional wherewithal to be able to express it appropriately. Remembering is caring. And then third is the way that they change their behavior around one another. So this is when he says, I always go out to the bars on Friday and Saturday night, but she's not feeling well and they're just friends, but he sits on the couch with her and makes her soup and watches silly movies with her to help her feel better and not so alone. Something about her has made him change the way that he behaves and has therefore fundamentally changed something about him. These people have changed as a result of their proximity and their care for one another. And again, you can do this in a romantic setting. You can do this in a friendship setting. So people going from being like enemies at work to becoming friends at work and becoming allies. You can do this in a whole bunch of different ways in a bunch of different types of relationships. And then in order, again, to show people growing apart, so a parent and a child drifting apart from one another, a romantic relationship falling apart, friends no longer being friends, you show these things beginning to crumble. So you show them changing their behavior to not be around one another, to not be considerate of one another. You show them forgetting the things that mattered, first the little tiny details and then eventually the bigger things, and you show them no longer noticing. She changes her behavior in a significant way and he doesn't even notice because he's not watching. So you can do this in forward and you can do it in reverse. Relationships change and evolve over time, and you're going to be able to show this in your stories.